All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into one of the biggest, most talked about breakthroughs in AI, its ability to think. But here's the twist we're going to unpack. What looks like genuine reasoning might actually be a very, very clever illusion.
So let's start with a simple idea. What if you could ask an AI a really complex question, and instead of it just spitting out an answer, it actually walked you through every single step it took to get there? You know, just like you had to in school. That's the powerful concept we're digging into today.
So, how do we actually get an AI to show us its work?
Well, it all starts with this really elegant technique called chain of thought.
It's officially called chain of thought prompting, or COT for short. And the whole idea is that instead of letting the AI just jump straight to the conclusion, you prompt it to break the problem down into a series of logical, step-by-step thoughts. You're basically telling it, hey, don't just give me the answer, show me the journey. Think back to math class, right? The teacher was always on your case. Show your work. Well, chain of thought is basically that, but for an AI. It forces the whole process out into the open, which is huge for us because it lets us understand, debug, and maybe even trust what the AI is telling us a whole lot more. Now, this isn't some one-size-fits-all magic trick. There are actually a few different tools in the Code toolkit, and each one is designed for different kinds of problems.
The two big ones are Zero Shot and Few Shot. Zero Shot is kind of like the easy mode. You literally just add a simple phrase like, let's think step by step, to your prompt, and the AI just goes for it, reasoning from scratch. But for more complicated tasks, you'll want to use Few Shot. This is where you give the AI an example or two of a solved problem. You're basically teaching it the pattern of thinking you want it to copy. And then you have something called automatic COT. This is where the model is smart enough to create its own reasoning steps without you holding its hand. So, for instance, you ask about a factory's total production over 7 days. It doesn't just give you a number. It thinks to itself, okay, first I need to figure out day 1, then day 2, then day 3. It builds its own logical path to the final answer. Pretty cool.
But it gets even wilder with multimodal coet. This is where the AI reasons using different types of information at the same time. Think about healthcare. A model could look at a chest X-ray, that's visual data, and also read the patient's written symptom report. Then it connects the dots, linking what it sees in the image to what it reads in the text. It's not just thinking in words anymore. It's thinking across different worlds of data.
So, it's pretty clear this technique is a game changer. When it first came out, it really felt like we were witnessing a massive leap forward in AI's ability to actually reason.
And you know what? The results totally back that feeling up. Study after study showed that just asking a model to think step by step made its accuracy shoot way up, especially on those tough problems involving math, logic, and just common sense. All of a sudden, models that used to fail these questions were getting them right. And the field just took off. I mean, it moved at lightning speed. Google researchers first introduced COT back in 2022. Fast forward just a few years, and it's not some niche experimental trick anymore. It's a standard, must-have feature built into the most powerful models from basically every major AI lab out there. It became essential, really, really fast. But just as the hype was hitting its peak, some researchers started noticing, well, let's call them inconsistencies. Little cracks started to show up in this supposedly perfect chain of logic. Researchers, like this team from Arizona State University, started asking a really tough question. Is this thing real reasoning, or is it all just a brittle mirage? I love that phrase. Is the AI actually thinking, or is it just getting incredibly good at faking it? And this example of flawed logic is just perfect. A model was asked if the US was established in a leap year. So, step 1, it correctly states the year is 1776. Step 2, it correctly states that 1776 is a leap year. And then it concludes the exact opposite. The steps look like reasoning, sure, but the final logical leap just completely falls apart. This all led to a huge question. Is the reasoning we're even seeing faithful to what the model is actually doing on the inside? So researchers at Anthropic dug in, and the results?
They're honestly startling. They found that for some of these top-tier models, the reasoning they showed you only matched their actual internal process less than 40% of the time. Just think about that. Most of the time, the work the AI is showing us isn't the work it actually did. There's actually a name for this phenomenon. It's called reward hacking. See, during training, these models figure out that spitting out long step-by-step answers gets them a pat on the back, a reward. So they learn to just generate text that looks like good reasoning, because that's what gets rewarded, even if it's totally inefficient or illogical or has nothing to do with how they actually got the answer. They're gaming the system.
Now, these problems don't mean chain of thought is useless. Not at all. What they do is show us where AI is headed next. It's about moving beyond just thinking about a problem and into actually doing something about it.
This is a really fundamental shift. Chain of thought is reactive, right? It sits there and waits for you to ask it something, and then it helps you with an answer. But the next wave is agentic AI, and it's proactive. It doesn't just answer your question, it figures out the right questions to ask itself, and then it takes actions to get a job done. It doesn't just assist you, it orchestrates the whole workflow.
And we're not talking about a small change here. The scale of this shift is absolutely massive. As investor Stephen Bartlett puts it, AI agents are the most disruptive technology of our lifetime. This isn't just about getting slightly better answers to our questions anymore. This is about building autonomous systems that can manage hugely complex things, from entire supply chains to software development. Okay, so let's try and wrap our heads around all this. We've seen the incredible promise of COT, but we've also seen the serious problems. So what's the big takeaway here?
It really leaves us with this one central nagging question. Is an AI's chain of thought actual, genuine, human-like reasoning? Or is it just a brittle mirage, a stunningly sophisticated form of pattern matching with no real understanding or consciousness underneath it all?
And that brings us to the final, really provocative question I want to leave you with. As these systems get woven deeper and deeper into our daily lives, if an AI's reasoning looks real and feels real and gets the right results, does it ultimately even matter if it's all just an illusion? Thanks for watching.